Thank you very much to our witnesses, and it's, I think, a valuable conversation to have here. We had law enforcement in the first hour, and now to have some of those involved in the manufacturing process. And in particular, I say that because what I've heard from the government side is that auto manufacturers, and I would suggest that probably applies to auto parts manufacturers and those who are working to develop the technology, that they're not doing enough, that it's mostly falls on the responsibility of the manufacturers. And I think we've all, and from your testimony and introduction, you have both stated how seriously you take this issue. So I'm wondering if both of you, and I'll start with Mr. Kingston in the room here, and then to Mr. Volpe, but just wondering if you could quantify a little bit for us what the members of your organizations are investing in helping to actually address this issue, and then what more, some targets maybe you're looking at in terms of forecasting to see this very serious issue addressed.
Thank you. Well, I can't give you an actual figure from what company investments look like because it's on an individual company basis in terms of what they spend, and that would not be made public or available to me. But what I can tell you is that there are, I just listed off a handful of measures that manufacturers have put into vehicles. That's just an example of the investments and initiatives that are undertaken by manufacturers to try and stay one step ahead of organized crime groups. We provided information into Transport Canada earlier this year that outlined in a very comprehensive fashion all of the measures and security features that are in vehicles. So it's a constant evolution to try and stem the flow of vehicle theft. But I think what we're seeing here is this diversion between theft rates in Canada compared to the U.S. show that we have a Canada-specific problem with respect to crime and the ability to move these vehicles out, because we have more secure vehicles in this country, yet they are being stolen more frequently.
So if I could, and then Mr. Volpe, I do want to get to you, but Mr. Kingston, it was alleged at an earlier meeting that manufacturers aren't hurt by the fact that when a vehicle is stolen, that person has to buy another vehicle. I'm wondering what you would say to that sort of suggestion. And then Mr. Volpe, I'm hoping you can answer the larger question here.
Yes, that's frankly preposterous. Manufacturers have a relationship with their customer through the dealership. They build that relationship over years. The last thing that you want to have happen is to have a customer have their vehicle stolen, and then they question the vehicle and the technology in it. So that is absolutely not the case. A manufacturer wants their customer to feel safe and secure, and to continue to come back to that manufacturer year after year when they need a new vehicle. So they are investing heavily in this and need this crisis to end.
Okay, thanks. And Mr. Volpe, hopefully you can keep it to about 60 seconds because I have another couple of questions I hope to get in.
You don't know me very well, but I'll give it a shot. The members of the APMA, the suppliers in this country, are trying to demonstrate that they are specifically capable of supplying cybersecurity, AI, machine learning, new tools to the auto sector. We did it in a demonstration project called Project Arrow, and Project Arrow 2.0 is going to do a fleet of showing and demonstrating this technology. Some of the activity or some of the capability of that technology is going to be restricted by things like privacy laws in this country. What the tech can do versus what a consumer might want to allow it to do, or what a government might want a fleet of vehicles to do is where the rubber hits the road.
That's a great actually segue into my next question. I'll ask you both to respond hopefully in about 30 seconds each, because then I have one request that I'll leave with you. In the weeks after Ukraine invaded Russia, I'm still involved in my family farm, and I had to chuckle when the Russians stole a whole bunch of farm equipment from a Ukrainian a farm dealership, but then they got it to Russia and it was all immobilized, which the reason I chuckled was because it served them right, and they didn't end up being able to use, in that case, John Deere farm equipment. So immobilizers and things like that. I'm wondering if you could both quick comment on just how we can get more of that tech that can, whether it's a circumstance like a war, or whether it be somebody with a vehicle stolen out of their driveway, to make sure that that vehicle is not worth stealing. Mr. Kingston, and then Mr. Volpe, as quick as you can, because I do have that one last request.
Sure. Very quickly, every vehicle sold in Canada has an immobilizer, and that's part of the Transport Canada regulation that is in place. So that's a technology that is currently in place, but again, because this is sophisticated organized crime, they invest in ways to get past it.
Volpe, anything to
Yeah,
add?
I wouldn't add anything more to that. I think Brian's hit the nail on the head.
And so how do we make sure that that those immobilizers actually stop the vehicles?
I think.
Look, speaking from a
Yep. Go ahead, Flavio.
Yeah, speaking from a parts supplier point of view, you can make the most sophisticated mobilizer. You sell it to a human being. That human being owns that vehicle, maintains and services that vehicle, but it might be 3, 4, 6, 8 years out of from when you made it. And so vehicles are different than some of the updates people run on their own phones.
And if I could just make this final request, if there are any best practices, and I know you have members that have operations in different countries as well, I would invite you to submit best practices from other like-minded jurisdictions, Canada's allies, if there are things that this committee should take into consideration when we develop a report. Thank you all.